Hi, this is Francisco talking to you from Ilhavo, Portugal. I wanted to make just a short video about the topic that I find really fascinating because one of the things that I really enjoy to talk about is how art translates how people feel about reality. Art is always cathartic, is always symbolic, even when the creators don't think so, but there's always a measure of symbolism, not only about sociological issues, but about the people who make them themselves. I wanted to talk about this because I find an interesting parallel between things that have been said about the character of Megatron in Transformers 1 and the murder of CEO of health insurance company in New York and the support that the general audience has been giving to that murder. So, what happens in Transformers 1 for starters? We have this society in Cybertron, the planet of the so-called Transformers, where most of the society works to mine this resource that is really important for them. It's a demanding, very dangerous job. A lot of people die trying to mine this resource, and our main characters are part of this endeavor. They serve a leader, a very wealthy, very charismatic leader, that says that they need to keep doing this. People need to sacrifice themselves so they can save their society, save their race. Later on, it is. I will give you some spoilers. So if you don't like spoilers, maybe you shouldn't watch this video. Just a heads up. So later on, they find out that this is all a lie. They didn't need to mind that. They're just doing that because their leader wants to keep his position, be wealthy, and pay their enemies for the artificial peace he broke with them. When one of the characters, D16, finds about this, it just snaps and realizes that his entire life was a lie. And that all the suffering, all the hardships they went through were just for someone else to enjoy his own life at the expense of everyone else. And as it does that, it decides that he needs to kill the leader. Or Ampex, who later becomes Optimus Prime, tries to stop this because he believes that if they end one regime with bloodshed, then the next regime will just be built from that bloodshed and there will never be peace. However, then there's this epic clash at the end. It's an amazing movie. If you haven't watched it, you just must watch it. It's one of the best animated movies from the last decade. It's great, watch it. But my point is, there's a lot of videos and essays and comments on the social networks defending Megatron, saying that maybe he was right. Maybe we just need to kill and get rid of the wealthy people and remake society, remake the economic system, create a fairer system by removing those parasites, as they're called by some people. Now, what's interesting is that the murdering of the CEO in the New York, these old bikes make a lot of noise. I have like a bunch of buildings between me and the street, and I can still hear it. Anyways, I see a lot of people just defending the murderer, like, and the person who kind of identify the murderer and call the police is seen as a traitor to the working class people. Which leads us to another point. People are saying that the guy who killed this rich dude is a hero, and we should do this more often. Just kill the rich people, which is a really problematic thing to defend, right? So, but I find this interesting. No one is defending the CEO. At most, they're just saying that murdering someone is wrong, no matter what the reasons may be. But that's the minority. And I just read pages after pages of comments, and everyone going, someone should do this too. Someone should start killing CEOs and wealthy people and politicians and whatever. This resonates a lot with the militant left. As I said before, like left and right are useless concepts, but they kind of help us in this discussion because the socialist movements came from the idea of militantism, that we should forcefully disrupt society and create a new society from then. And this is really entrenched in the social substract of modern societies because of the importance of these movements in the 19th and the 20th century. I mean, this has roots in the French Revolution and beyond. And the French Revolution, that's what happened. The people came to the streets to kill all the nobles, all the rich people, and create a new way to govern themselves. Thing is, when they starting to run out of rich people to kill, they start to kill each other, and that's where the terrorists start. Like, you are not militant enough, we need to kill you. You still go to church, we need to kill you. I don't like you, I need to kill you. And the terror was a really terrible period of French history. This is really interesting, where we can see that killing the nobles was not seen as wrong, but when they get to the point where they start killing the other peasants, that's wrong. And it's still seen like in that fashion today. It's really interesting that there's that double standard there. But we get to this point where we see the unfairness of modern life, and these ideas of like avenge this unfairness with our own hands by killing people in the streets kind of becomes popular. And we see that it seems that people want this to happen. And why is that? Why this leftist militantism is kind of, even if people don't see themselves, but that's what they're defending. And what's happening? I mean, just look around. There are people who are filthy rich, who have access to everything, but in a global scale, normal people are becoming increasingly more poor. Life is becoming really difficult. In some places like Portugal, where I live, like the rent for a house is greater than the lowest income. So if a couple where each one earns lower income, they cannot sustain themselves, and it's impossible to keep a family at that point. I mean, it's impossible to have dignity, because you need to choose if you want to eat that day or go to work, because you cannot afford a house closer to work. You need to drive there, and some works you need to go there. I mean, there are places where there aren't even public transportation at that time, so it's just a small space in the day. Which means what? Like, people are seeing their quality of life degrading. They are becoming more desperate, more sad, more depressed, and they just see other people becoming more and more rich by exploiting them. like exploiting their needs, and even the basic needs are not being addressed. Like, you may have a house, but you cannot eat, so you can eat, but you need to live on the street. And so for many people, that's becoming a growing reality. So when they see someone like avenging their situation by killing one of those people who have everything, by exploiting them, or at least that's the way they see it, they just become happy with it. I mean, I'm not saying that murdering is right. That's not my point. My point is, people are getting to a point where they start to see violence as the only way to change things, the only way to improve their position. And I don't see any government really trying, at least in most of the Western world, for starters. Like, governments try to really change that. They're like putting duct tape on some of the holes, but they're not really addressing the whole thing. And I just think to myself, when people see Megatron, a guy who violently murders the Jews in front of a crowd, and they see him as a hero, as someone that did the right thing, when they see a guy that murdered someone at cold blood in a metro station as a hero, what that means about our society, where are we heading, right? Because people are losing dignity, people are losing the basic needs, and they're seeing violent murders as heroes. Something should be done, I think. What do you think? Do you think that there's some resonance between what happens in Transformers 1 and reality? Do you have any other reading on it? Make a comment. Tell me, what do you think? I would like to read your comments. See you later.